Today I'm going to do a new meditation. No meditation is actually new, but I'm going to do a new little format and see how it works. And it's a resource meditation. So I'll actually just ask you to do a couple of exercises to start. So today it's fortunate in Los Angeles it's raining, so this makes this easy. But can you find something in the sound environment of your space that has at least a non-problematic quality to it, ideally a pleasant quality? And you can practice this just by opening your ears, metaphorically, widening out and taking in the whole soundscape. Now, of course, sound is constantly changing, so you may not find a sound that is always there that feels nice. And so then you can also pay attention to the silence or the quiet in your space, or like the room tone of your space. Or there might be an air conditioner or a heater. I have a little gas fireplace, so there's some. I just want you to find one sound, just one for right now, that is going to be there throughout the sit probably and doesn't bother you at all. All right. Not something you're like, oh God, just something that you can, be peaceful with. So we're finding a sound in our environment, one that will be there for the full 30 minutes and one that we don't have a problem with. And then you're just going to hear it. And you want to pay attention to not what it is. Don't go, for instance, rain. Go, oh yeah, there's a pitch to it or a rhythm, or how quiet is it, or how loud, where is it? These basic sensory details of the sound in your environment. And you can use a label. I'm here to guide, so the labels aren't as useful, but it's good for you to practice on your own. A label like here. So when you hear it, you could label, I'm hearing here, here, here. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing in the visual realm. Now this is a little different. So you might just be able to close your eyes. If your eyes are closed and you look at the back of your eyelids and you can see the sort of peaceful blank space there, without straining your eyes, you just want to let that blank behind your eyelids. And you'll notice that there's areas of gray and dark and light. And if you like that, then that can be your visual reference. And you can just say see, or if it's easy for you. Some people, this is a little hard at first. This is slightly more advanced to notice because it's not something we normally notice. So the other option is the other two options is one, if you're very visually imaginative and active, And this is not a compliment or a criticism. It's something you have to sort of go, hey, am I seeing a lot of imaginary visual right now? Because I don't want you to have to work too hard to generate it. So if there's something you can easily imagine that has a pleasant visual quality, it could just be a color. And for most people, that's going to be the simplest thing to start with. It's just a color you like or an object that has that color and just see the color. But this is an imaginary color, but you're going to imagine it and really see it. What does it look like, this color? And pick a color, pick the color that's most pleasant to you, as long as it's easy for you to imagine. Okay, so right now you're trying either the blank space behind the eyelids or an imagined color. And either one, you'd say see, see. And everyone can try both of these, of course. Hey, by the way, check in. Can you hear the sound? Here, here. See, see, see. All right. Third option for C. You can have your eyes open. Now, a computer screen, I don't consider the most ideal resource, visual resource. But if your eyes are open and you don't have to look around too much, just without moving your head, I guess you could move your head too. If this is your last option and you have nothing in your visual space, you could even turn your head to something you like. But ideally, you could open your eyes and just see something, again, a color, a shape, a pattern of light and dark that is pleasant to you or not a problem. So I've got a little fireplace going right now. And so I can see the flame. I have to move my eyes to the right, but there it is. And, it's purple and blue and yellow, and I can just see, see. And you could either meditate with your eyes open or just open your eyes when you wanted to see something, as long as you know exactly what you're seeing. So you don't have to spend a lot of time thinking about it. Right now, we're finding it. So just look around. And again, you're allowed to turn your head a little bit if you need to. Don't make your eyes strain at all. But as little movement as possible to get yourself a visual reference. See. So I suggest everybody try all three of those C options. The one where you open your eyes, I want to be your last option. If you find that the only one you can do, then do that one. But otherwise, it's a little more disruptive to have to open your eyes. So if you can, do one of the other two options. And then let's try again. Can you hear your object, your sound? Here. Can you now see your object? See. All right. Now we're going to go to the body. So we're just going to feel the whole body. And we're going to look again for a sensation that'll be here for the remainder of the 30 minutes. Now, some of us have some pain in the body. I've got an injury right now that hurts. And we just acknowledge that. We're not running away from that. The same thing might happen in the sound. You might have some overwhelming sounds that are really distracting. Possibly you have a bright or unpleasant light in your visual space. That's possible. And we just let those be there, and then we turn our attention to the sound we've picked that does not bother us, right? That has ideally a pleasant quality, a peaceful quality. So we're going to do the same thing in the body. We're just going to acknowledge our whole body, so many sensations in our body. The funny thing is that with our eyes closed, in your normal sound environment, sometimes we're in a very noisy sound environment, but like in meditation, we often get it kind of quiet. The body has so many more sensations than your sound or sight one with your eyes closed. And so there's a lot of things to choose from. You can feel down to the smallest pinprick in your body. So there's just so many things inside and out to choose from. So maybe just follow your breath for a couple moments and let it be natural. Feel it come in and out. If you've been a meditator for a long time and you've used your breath, then your breath may be what you focus on here because it's so easy for you to notice, but it has to feel nice. It has to feel pleasant or peaceful, or at least, again, not a problem. But I want you to look through your body and feel for something that can be a resource, that's something that can be that feels good to feel, or at least feels pleasant. I mean, at least feels peaceful, not a problem. So it might be your butt on the seat or your feet on the floor. It might be any of the breath areas, the breath in your nose or in your belly. And now we're going to go feel, right? So you might feel the skin on your cheeks. You might feel your clothes on your back. And we just say to ourselves, feel, feel, feel. So once again, we're not so worried about the name of the location in the body or, we don't worried about what it looks like in our mind, our thoughts about it. What we're interested in is how it actually feels. So we want to drop into the feeling sensation. That's going to be warm or cool. It's going to be have a lot of pressure pushing outward or inward or not very much pressure. It's going to have a shape to it. You can feel the boundaries of where that sensation begins and ends. It might have some movement or rhythm or to it, or flow or tingling or vibration. It might have, uh, you might think there's a sensation of pleasure. Feel, feel, feel. Okay. Now in the feel realm, I want to add one more complication. And that is, I want you just to notice that when you start really feeling a resource, and it really is on the pleasurable side of zero, right? So it's a little bit better than nothing. It's not bad. Pleasurable feelings, loving feelings, joyful feelings, safe feelings, peaceful feelings. These all tend to spread in the body. So as you feel, really spend attention on one part of your body that feels pleasant or safe. You may notice that it spreads from that location, or you may notice that other parts of your body start to feel more pleasant or more peaceful. And you're allowed to feel those parts too. So you start and you just really focus on the feeling sensation of the resource you've chosen. But then if you start noticing, oh, I'm getting a little more relaxed, or I'm feeling a little more peaceful, or this feels good, Notice where that feels good. Maybe there's another part of your body that's starting to feel positive. Now, that word is a little dry, but it can be a useful word for what we're doing here. We're focusing on positive. That's how my teacher, Shinzen Young, described it. And it's not because we are running away from the negative, right? We're not saying there's nothing wrong with the negative. That can all still be here. We're not trying to get rid of it or fight it off or hide from it. But we are focusing on the positive. We get to choose what we focus on. So check in again. Can you still hear your positive sound? Here, here, here. Can you see your positive visual? See, see, see. Can you feel your positive feel sensation? Feel, feel, feel. Can you notice any spreading or expansion of the positive sensation in your body? If you can't, that's totally okay. You just stay with the resource. But if you do, then notice that and allow that to be in your feeling attention. That is in your focus. So we're focusing on positive. So if you notice more positive, that's okay. Today, you can let that in. It's just a slightly more advanced instruction because one thing is we're choosing to focus on a particular thing. We know what it is and we do it. This is we're turning up a filter and we're allowing any positive in. So we don't necessarily know where it might come from, but we're sort of saying, putting up a Craigslist ad or to update it, a Facebook Marketplace ad for positive sensations from my body. And we're allowing them to come in. Now, once you go back to sound, can you find the sound? Feel, hear. Really hear it. Again, it might be changing. Well, it is changing. It's a sound, but it might be different than you remember it. It doesn't matter. Just keep paying attention. Here, here. Now I want you to do that instruction where you allow any positive sensations from the body to arise as you hear. So it's as if notice that if it's nice to hear something, then your body will go, oh, that's nice. Where do you feel that? Or you can just allow that in if it pops up. If you don't notice it, that's fine. You just stay with the sound. Here, here. And then you might notice, oh, feel. My body is responding to the sound in a positive way. Here, here, feel. So your primary goal is to stay with the sound, but we're just we're allowing into the world the possibility that our body is going to send us a feeling of information saying, hey, we like this. And then I want you to notice what that feels like. Here, Hear, feel. Okay, I want us to do the same thing visually. So now move your attention to the visual realm. See, see, feel. If you notice your body liking it, it's okay if you don't. See, feel, see, feel. So we're focused on the visual, but we are allowing in the parts of our body that are connected to that visual experience, the parts that are responding positively to that visual experience. See, feel. Okay, now go back to your feel sensation, this basic resource. Feel, feel. And now I want you to just really, if it's happening in your body, really start to settle in a broader feeling of resource in your body. Again, only if that's happening. And for many of us, because we are really focusing on positive here, you might start having like a nice warm sensation over a big chunk of your body. And you can sort of change that to your resource. Now, all we want to find is positive in the body. If you're not having this, you go back to the thing you can count on. Otherwise, you're sort of opening your attention wider. This means is it's sort of like at first we had a very focused flashlight of attention, but now we're opening it's like a floodlight of attention so that it's filling our body or a big chunk of our body that feels that has pleasure in it. And letting it spread as much as it wants to spread. So it can spread all the way to your skin, to your toes, to your fingers, to the top of your head. You don't have to force it. You just don't block it if it's allowed to go there. It can spread all the way into your organs, into your bones even. You just realize that that's all allowed. Again, we're putting up the marketplace ad saying pleasurable sensation wanted from anywhere in the body. It doesn't even have to be a very pleasurable. It can just be a little bit on this side of zero. Okay, go back to sound. Here, here. Okay, final type of technique today. We're going to allow our hearing to spread. So this may, again, not work for you today, especially if there's some noise you really don't like going on. But most sounds are okay. So you might notice your resource, the one you picked, and then just notice if any other positive sounds are appear in your awareness. And so just like we took the very narrow spotlight of attention on the body and then let it widen, we're doing the same thing here with sound, but again, only to sounds that don't have a negative quality, that feel okay. And so we're allowing in sounds from all around. So not just the direction we were listening before. If we were listening to the right, we can allow sounds in from the left, or above, or below, or behind, or in front. Sounds that are close to us, or sounds that are very far away. And we still can hear the sound we picked, but we're letting in other sounds. Here, here, here. Now allow for the body response. So we're hearing and we're letting the hearing be wide. And now we're going to allow for the body's response to what we're hearing. So are we hearing a positive and then feeling a positive? Hear, feel, hear, feel, hear. Okay, so we're going to have 5 more minutes here. And in those last 5 minutes, you're going to allow anything in from the hearing, seeing, or feeling experiences that is in the positive realm. And you can just keep focusing on the things you picked, but you're just loosening your attention enough to allow in other positive experiences. And so you can just sort of let your attention wander from seeing, hearing to feeling and around, however it really wants to go, but just keep it focused on the resource. If you're getting distracted by pain or discomfort or thoughts, then just really focus in on the ones you picked. And if you're still getting distracted, just pick the one that feels the best, that you like the best, that works the best. So some of you will just listen to sound right now, and some of you will be bouncing all around. Remember the anchors you have of the things we chose at the beginning. If you get distracted, go back to those. You might want to add just the smallest little smile to your face. It can be totally interior so no one sees it, or it can be whatever feels natural. You might want to force it just a little bit. It's a physical manifestation of what we're working to experience. There could be a nice little feedback. And just notice if that gives you any feel in your body that's positive. Like other positive, that smile could spread. It could get bigger in a natural way, and that's totally fine and normal. But don't let it distract you. Keep hearing, seeing, and feeling. Okay. So, now we're going to start coming out of this. Check in one more time with your three resources. Just see if they're still there. See if you still feel okay. And now we're gonna slowly, if you haven't opened your eyes already, you can open your eyes when you're ready. And you're gonna start moving your body. Now, I want you to move your body, and I want you to again really listen to how the body wants to move. And that should be pleasurable. Even like I have this injury, like there's still pleasure in moving my body after it's been still. And you can again let this positive in. Okay, so we're coming out of the meditation here, but we have a mind that's trained to focus on negative. That's true of almost all of us. Even if you think you're a positive person, the mind is designed to solve problems. So it's looking for problems. Okay, parts of the mind are for that. So training, practicing, focusing on positive is not a way of running away from the realities of life. It's a way of actually seeing the realities of life. Okay. There's all this positive that's available. Now, today you might have found very hard. That's normal. Again, it's going against the patterning of our mind. But let's just give a little bit of information to the mind so the mind might get on board with this. If you really listen to all the sounds in your world and you listen to them as sounds, not as what they might mean, right? Just the sound. Is it high? Is it low? It doesn't hurt your ears, maybe. If you find them, you're going to find lots of sounds. Most of us are going to find almost all the sounds are generally okay and often very pleasant. Um, but even for those of us that have an unpleasant environment or whatever, we can still find lots of sounds, lots of them. Same thing with the visual. We look around our room and individually, the colors, the light, the patterns, individually, there's just nothing wrong with them. If you don't let them into the mind and the mind has a story about them, and you just see them as visual experience. Now, I have a very visually pleasant environment because I've set it up that way. But even if you have, even a bare white wall is fine, right? It's just a white wall, but you look at it, it's the color white. It's got no problem. Okay. And then we go through our body. And again, some of us, most humans start to develop discomfort as we get older in our body. Some of us have chronic pain of sorts. So there's challenges there. And there's also emotional challenges because our body gets activated and anxious. But we start looking through our body, really looking. And most of us, again, can find that The body has lots of pleasant sensations. Again, you could do things that are make it even easier. You can put your hand on a part of the body. You want to find a sensation that feels okay. And so we can do these little, you should check, you should explore, right? Um, does that feel nice, right? Does this feel nice? Does squeezing feel nice? Does patting feel nice? So we want to explore the positive in our life. So in meditation, we do this with our attention, but we do it with our attention in our life too. So it's like, where do you give your attention? And the mind thinks we've got to be solving problems all the time. And there are problems we do have to solve. But most of what our mind does is not very useful. 99% of its like problem solving is like for things that don't need to be solved right now. Um, there might be something that needs to be solved and your mind thinks about it 24/7 and that's just not useful, right? It's like okay, there's times to think about it. And the rest of the time we could be experiencing our, these other things. So we want to get curious and explore the positive in our life. And in meditation, we're always doing that. When we just concentrate on the breath, if the breath is painful for you, that's not a good meditation object for you to start with. Okay. Like if it's painful or anxiety inducing, you got to focus on something else. And if, for instance, you don't like meditation because they taught you it's focus on the breath and the breath just you start feeling more anxious when you focus on it, then that's because you've got the wrong object. You can focus on something else. And so it's very useful to focus on one thing and get that concentration going and be able to stay with it, but it's got to be something that feels pleasant or okay. So we're always doing this in meditation. Now, there is a part of meditation, an important part, the transformative part, where we're allowing everything in, we're allowing even more difficult things in, but we're just letting them arise and fall, okay, in the context of safety or other feelings of pleasantness or okayness. So meditation is really about um, the first sort of stage of meditation is really about exploring the positive, even if it's just one thing, really spending time with non-problematic experience. And then we want to change our patterning in our life so that instead of continually energetically looking for what's wrong, we start to um, have more space to look for what's pleasant, what's okay, what's peaceful. This will bring us more and more and we want to keep doing it. We can do it with the mind as well. You can be like, hey, I've got a shower. That's pleasant. I've got money. That's pleasant. I've got food. That's pleasant. I've got friends. You can do that well. That's a gratitude. And like, you can do it up in the mind level as well. But at the meditation level, and this is the level you got to practice first in the meditation world is the level of sensation. Just like, hey, right now I can explore and there are okay sensations. And that brings you into the present moment. Not a story about your life. It's not a story whether your life is good or bad. It's just like right here in the present, there's some good stuff. We start to change that habit, well, your experience changes. Now, hopefully today you started to feel that. You might not have, but I guarantee you, if you practice this regularly, there will be a shift um, towards your baseline of positive versus negative. Um, Again, if you have lots of chronic pain or a lot of trauma, this will be it'll be more challenging. It'll take a little more time and it won't move as aggressively right away. And you might need other things. You need health, you need doctors and you need, therapists to help with some of that stuff. But for most of the people, if that's not a constant, really intense problem, this practice of focusing on resource for a while will genuinely just change your baseline within some people, it's within 10 days, at least within a few months. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for stopping by Facebook. We're here all the time. Come every Saturday. See you soon.